Hello, myself Mohammad Rafi. I am from Anna Sahib Dange College of Engineering and Technology, Asta. Now I will discuss about profitability financial ratios. So this is the content. In that first we see introduction, then application, then advantages, then limitation, and then last we see case study. So this is the introductions of profitability financial ratios. So profitability is the basis for companies' effectiveness assessment. To evaluate the profitability, one may use the ratios relating selected profit type given in the profit and loss statement. Typically, the net profit to the level of sales, assets, or equity. The greater the values of these ratios, the better the company's profitability. There are no reference values for the ratios, thus, to assess them, we analyze how they change in time. Next is the group of profitability ratios includes first is gross profit margin, then operating profit margin, then return on sales or net profit margin, then return on assets, then basic earning power ratios, then return on equity, then last is return on shares in share capital. So this is the type of profitability financial ratios. Next is the application of profitability financial ratios. In that first we see liquidity and solvency ratios. Evaluate a company cash into the context of its ability to pay off debt. Liquidity ratio refer to cash on hand and consider a company's capacity to turn other assets such as account receivable, tradings, securities and inventory into cash. Then second is efficiency ratios. In that apply to the time it takes for a company to turn inventory and accounts receivable into cash. Management, investor and creditor all monitor these ratios to determine a company's operating profitability as well as areas for improvement. Then third is profitability ratios. In that reflect a company's ability to achieve operational profit from its current assets similar to efficiency ratios. This measure help outside capital providers like investors and creditors determine their return on investment versus the company resources, assets and efficiencies. Next is the financial leverage ratios. In that measure the values of equity in a company via its overall debt pictures. By comparing debt or equity to assets and share outstanding, investor can determine the company's level of leverage. More leverage if creditor own the majority of assets, less if shareholders do, and assess the riskiness of its capital structures. Then last one is coverage ratio. In that determine a company's ability to pay its debt, but unlike liquidity and solvency ratio, coverage relates to obligations that are not typical abilities like regular dividend payments to stockholders and interest payments associated with debit service. Then next is the advantages of profitability financial ratios. In that first is save time and effort. So in that financial ratios simplify complex set of data and save you time as well as effort. The debit to asset ratio takes less than a minute to calculate by dividing total debit by total assets, both of which are clearly spelled out in the balance sheet. The resulting number provides an idea about the strategy as well as viability of the business. Then next is the interfirm comparisons. In that ratios make it very easy to compare firm against each other. If you are evaluating two business to hire a subcontractors, their respective debit to asset ratios will give you an idea about which of these two companies is the more stable choice. The company with a higher debit to asset ratios could be more likely to go out of business as a result of defaulting on interest and principal repayments. Next is the limitations. In limitation, first is measure limited time frame. In that, business are always looking for new opportunities to invest their profit into as a way of growing their size. Then second is disregard risk. In that, another issue with profitability ratios is that they overlook the risk a business required to generate profit by only focusing on the profit ratios, which measures financial performance. Then next is possible manipulation. In that, the company profit record are done by the management, which leaves a lot of room for personalization and therefore can be a tool for manipulation in a company. Then last one is challenging to compare companies from different jurisdictions. In that, another point to keep in mind is there are different methods of presenting financial and profits. Next, last is case study of profitability financial ratio. So this is the case study. In that, financial analysts often assess the firm liquidity, solvency, efficiency, profitability, operating efficiency and financial stability in both short term and long term. Ratio analysis provides relative measures of the company's performance and can indicate clues to the underlying financial position. For measuring financial position and financial efficiency, appropriate level of financial performance indicators are required with whom comparison can be made. Generally, liquid ratio, debt equity ratio, interest coverage ratio, inventory turnover ratio, turn on investment ratio, and debt to net worth ratio are highly useful in determining financial position, financial performance, and the financial stability or otherwise of such management. So that's all about profitability financial ratios. Thank you.